Alright, so today I'm going to be doing a mouse trap with this bottle here. Now, this is a type of mouse trap that I've done before. I called it the Venus Mousetrap years ago, and I just wanted to revisit it just to show you how well it works and why it works so well. It is a live mouse trap, so if that's not what you're into, then this is not the video for you. And I like this size of jar because it's plenty deep for the mouse to go in and the possibility of catching multiple mice. Some people will say, why don't you just put a bucket out, do that whole rolling thing and the mice fall in. That's true. However, that's only good for doing a mouse trap in a very closed area, because if you have other animals that can get to the bucket, then that's no good anymore, because they're just going to demolish that bucket and eat whatever's in the bucket. So this is designed for indoors and outdoors. So this particular trap is going to go outdoors, and so I don't want basically the raccoons and the skunks to go into the bucket or go into whatever other mouse trap. This is going to be very secure. They won't be able to break into this.
Other than this bottle, we just need a few tools and materials. So we're just using some of this wire. Now this is just some very, very thin gauge. I think it's like 22 or 24 gauge wire that you can get from your local dollar store or hardware stores. Very malleable, very bendy. Now in terms of tools, I am going to be using a drill. And for the drill bit, you can just use a regular drill bit, but I love these step drills. They are so good because they can have a nice big hole. I'm going to be using the biggest size here. So a hot glue gun. Initially I used to use this for everything, so I used the hot glue gun to tack everything into place, but I'm just going to use the hot glue gun initially to tack things into place, and then I'm going to use epoxy, which should be a lot stronger, and I've used this epoxy before. This is what I'm going to be using. And just a pair of cutters. So to cut the wire, you don't need these to help form or bend the wire, because it's, like I said, it's really malleable wire, and the tin snips to cut through the metal lid. I'm going to mark the center point, which I'm going to try to cut through. This is kind of like the hole size that I'm going for is either the first little step here or this step here. So that's the hole size I'm going for. So that's actually like perfect. One of those two sizes. So these are left-handed cutters. So we're going to go in this counterclockwise fashion. And we start off without wearing gloves. And then I think, wait, I should be wearing gloves. Let's try this again. So just to measure, this is about a 1.5 inch hole. The bigger, slightly bigger, the better, because you can vary the size of the hole. So if you make it too big initially, when you're it'll make more sense in a second, but when you're placing the wires, you can actually make the hole smaller if you want to. I'm just going to take some 100 grit sandpaper just to rough the outside, because that will help for everything to stick there better, like the hot glue and the epoxy. So just roughing up the entire outside of the lid. All scuffed up and ready to go to the next part. I'm just going to cut off an approximate portion of wire that I'll need. Really with this trap is you need a whole bunch of these pieces of wire, so it's a little bit tedious, but really what we're going to do is we're going to give it a nice bend here. So I'm going to give it approximately that much. And then we just need another little bend here. So if I'm saying, okay, it's going to be about that long, which I think is pretty good. So that is about 2 3/4 inches roughly, or about 3 inches would be fine too. Then we're going to figure out, okay, so now I need to do a bend here, because this is what stabilizes it, right? So this is what stabilizes it down onto the jar. If you just had this straight piece here, this is going to twist all around the place and probably break off quite easily if the mouse is pushing against this. So this is so that it stabilizes against here, and we don't need this much, but we're going to cut that off right about there. Okay, so this is how much we're going to be using for each piece, and we're going to need a lot of them. I think about 16 of these. Marker on where the bends are going to go, and that way I can make it pretty uniform straighten that one out. So it's about 4 inches long, this particular piece of wire. You don't have to measure it because really all you're just doing is taking another piece of wire. I just put it up against there. There you go. And just keep cutting. All right, and there we have our 16 pieces. And then now it's just about, I made these marks before. Now I just have to kind of get every piece bent in the same spot. So the easiest way to kind of do that is just line them up approximately so you can see each strand. You don't have to make this exact because once you're going into it, doing each piece, you can see that you will just be able to just do it. It's not a big deal. If it's off by 1/8 of an inch or this much or that much, you'll see in the end product there. It's quite easy to do. So they're all marked off in a similar area. So we're going to start with the bends. So you can see there's a little black marking right there. Just bending it right there. Relatively straight. You can straighten this all out later on. And then getting a 90-degree bend this way. So you just have to make sure that they're all going the same way. And that's essentially what you're doing there. You just keep repeating that over and over again with all 16 pieces. So you'll have a whole bunch of pieces kind of looking like that. Let's take one of these guys, put it here. So just a wee bit of glue, and that's what it should look like. And then you can work on straightening or arranging these afterwards. And just to make sure that things are even, so I'm going to go on the other side. So if you're going around this way, this way, this way, you never know if you're going to be completely even. So I'm just going to put this one right here, exactly opposite. So we're just going to go here, and then across here, and so on until we kind of go crisscross back and forth. So there's the first 4, pretty big wide open space, and that's the idea right there so far. So this is with 8 in there right now, and you can see it's starting to take shape. This is where you can start trying to kind of form things out a little bit more so that it's a bit more uniform. So we want it kind of to go into more like a smaller cone shape, if possible. It doesn't have to be exactly cone shaped, but that's the idea, is when the mouse goes in, they're going to go through, because there's a lot of space here. It's flexible, you know, there's a bit of flex to them, but when it tries to come back in, it sees this bigger area, but it cannot get through here. They don't go through here, and people are like, well, they're going to poke out their eyes, and they really don't. They're a lot smarter than you think they are. They have things called senses. So again, when they're coming closer, they're not going to poke their eyes out on this. They don't try to get out through here. They try to get out through this very obvious open space. So it's kind of like an illusion to them. And that's why this works. All right, literally just finished and haven't straightened anything out yet. And that's how it looks. Isn't that really pretty? I just love that spiral. And this is where it's looking a little bit messed up now. So we're just going to try to straighten them out so they have a little bit more of a cone kind of appearance. I kind of get lost in the art of doing things like this. Yes, there are simpler ways to do things. Yes, there are simpler traps. You can just buy a trap for $1. But I kind of like creating because it just, I don't know, you just get in the zone, you just focus on one thing. It's kind of like doing arts and crafts or painting. You just get lost in what you're doing. So there it is. This is it. Sort of see how I arranged the wires, and that's what it looks like from the inside. So obviously you would think that the mouse could kind of go through there, but again, for some reason, the first thing they do is just go right to these open areas here, because this is, they can see and feel the air coming through, but they don't recognize this as the entry point. Even though these wires are, you know, movable and malleable, they're not strong enough to break through the bars here. Most of the mice that we have here are deer mice, and what they will be able to fit their head through this particular hole with ease. So you can see it'll expand with their body, and they'll be able to come out without too much problem. Now all we do here is take this, screw that in, and then the trap is done. If you want to put peanut butter, you can put the peanut butter on the end, or just I'm going to throw in some bird seed. This is a live trap, so if you want to keep them alive and set them free somewhere else, then you can do so quite easily. You just have to check your mouse trap every single day, and I repeat that every single day. If you want to kill trap, then this is not the trap for you. Simply before in the past, I've just put tons of hot glue on the top just to lock it in, but in this case I am going to put epoxy around there to keep it even stronger. And I'm just gonna kind of smear it on. That's it. Let it set for about a day with the epoxy, and then we'll put it outside and see how we do.
It usually takes 1 to 2 days for the mice to get comfortable with the presence of a new trap. This mouse experiments with going part of the way in but doesn't commit fully. They will often run around it, sniff everything, and jump all over it. After a couple of nights of this, I ended up shortening the wires by about 1 inch to make it easier for the mouse. Now the trap does bring other visitors. Luckily, this bird cannot get in, and this squirrel tries but is unsuccessful. However, at some point it did bend some of the wires, and I didn't notice that there was a gap in the wires near the lid big enough for a mouse to fit through. As you can see, this mouse easily jumps into the trap with the shortened wires, but because of the bent wires, this mouse easily finds a way out. I don't know if it was the same mouse, but this next mouse went into the trap. It struggled to find a way out. Once I inspected the footage, I corrected the wires, and now you can see this next mouse struggle at the opening. They really do focus in on the bottle opening and not the end of the wires. Eventually, it gives up and starts cleaning itself. Without the footage, I would have missed the issues. And there it is the next morning. Success. What a beautiful trap. It warms the heart when design and function work flawlessly together. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next Ladybug adventure.